Caregiving can feel overwhelming and at times isolating. If you're caring for someone with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, you're carrying a lot. You don't have to do it alone. There is help, there are resources, and there is hope. This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
I've been gut punched by the weight of that call. I've been gut punched when you don't know me at all. I've been gut punched.
Greetings and welcome. This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, the not-so-sexy podcast, episode 116. I'm your host, Jeff Edwards. Hello, caregivers, loved ones, family members. We hope you had a great week. You know, we're really happy you're here with us today. It's hope without hype, and we're here to help. Remember, you are not alone in this fight. Stay strong and stay positive. In Florida, some of the schools will be opening this week, so please be careful when you're driving. On today's podcast, we will be having a conversation with Dr. AmberRose Reale from Lee Health's Memory Care Program. Now, a little transparency here. I sought out Lee Health's Memory Care Program for two reasons. One is that I really didn't know a thing about it, and I should have. And two, it's kind of self-serving for me. My wife's situation has changed some, and she will be soon visiting Lee Health's Memory Care Program facility as a patient. For me, now, I know more than I did, and I'm very impressed with your approach to working with memory care patients. I am much less stressed about this than before, and let me tell you, that's a very good thing. And of course, we'll check in with Dr. John Huffaker for another edition of What's New with Alzheimer's. Today's question deals with different treatments for Alzheimer's, the ones on social media, and how many are just scams. And we'll have something on the 2026 Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's time. Let's go. We're proud to be supported by Neuropsychiatric Research Center, a clinical trial center dedicated to advancing research and treatment for memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. And the fine people at Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, nationally acclaimed, award-winning, your best choice for home care. Live younger today. Learn how you can activate your stem cells for health and vitality. Check them out online at liveyoungertoday.com. And a brand new one, Zachariah Fry, estate planning and elder law attorneys. What do I do now? You can find them at zachfrylaw.com. If you're new here, our 5 tenets or rules are the backbone of what we do, and they're easy to learn. Number 1, you must take care of yourself, because if something happens to you, who is going to take care of your loved one? Number 2, you can't do this alone. You need help. Find a good caregiver group. Number 3, make a list of people, friends, relatives, or coworkers who have offered to help, then actually call them. Number 4, create a help signal. Identify a cue or phrase to confirm your loved one is comfortable with receiving help from someone else. Number 5, caregiving. Love it or hate it. It will be your life until it's not. So give it your all. Coming up next, our interview with Dr. AmberRose Reale.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Heart, body, and mind, home care. Heart, body, and mind, home care. Your best choice for home care.
Most people want to stay in their own home for as long as possible. And honestly, who can blame them? Home is familiar. Home is comfortable. Home is where family memories live. That's why families turn to Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care. Their caregivers bring compassion, experience, and support right into the home, helping loved ones remain safe, comfortable, and independent in the place they know best. Because when care comes home, life feels a little more normal, a little more comfortable, a little more like home. And for many families, that's exactly why Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care is the right choice. Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, helping home still feel like home.
Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care.
Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care.
Your best choice for home care.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
In today's episode, we are going to take a good look at Lee Health's memory care program. A little history here. Lee Health itself has a long history. It began in 1916 when community leaders built the first Lee County Hospital with just 10 beds. Today, it's the largest nonprofit healthcare system in Southwest Florida, serving millions of patients' visits each year through hospitals, specialty centers, and physician practices. The Memory Care Program is part of the Lee Physician Group and the larger Neuroscience Institute. But did you know that it's one of Florida's state-funded memory disorder clinics? That matters because Florida designates certain clinics as memory disorder clinics because they meet specific standards for diagnosing Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. They are expected to provide multidisciplinary evaluations, not simply a quick office visit. And you'll learn that when you hear our guest. Now, our guest today is Dr. AmberRose Reale from Lee Health's Memory Care Program. Dr. Reale has been with Lee Health for about 4 years, specializing in neuropsychology and memory care. Her clinical interests include neurocognitive impairment, dementia, stroke, traumatic brain injury, that's TBI, and several other neurological conditions. After talking with her, I can honestly say she knows her field inside and out. In this interview, she gives us an in-depth look at Lee Health's memory care program, explaining what it is, who it serves, and the resources it offers to patients and families. Like any great conversation, we wandered down a rabbit hole or two. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, we had to leave some of those fun moments on the cutting room floor. We think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. Thanks for listening. I'm on the phone with Dr. AmberRose Reale from the Lee Health Memory Care Program. How you doing this morning, AmberRose?
I am doing great. Just getting my week started. How about you, Jeff?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
What exactly is Lee Health's memory care program, and how is it different from a memory care facility or a nursing home?
Yeah, it's a great question. So our facility is an outpatient program. So we're actually a state-designated memory disorder clinic through the Department of Elder Affairs. We offer multiple components to diagnosing and helping to treat cognitive changes. And so we have multiple providers. We have a geriatrician and a nurse practitioner who kind of oversee the medical side of our diagnosis and treatments. And then we have an office of 4 neuropsychologists, which is what I am, which basically do the cognitive assessment portion of the evaluation to determine strengths and weaknesses in different cognitive areas, and to actually make that diagnosis of cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, through the testing that we do within our clinic. And then patients will actually return and see our medical team as well for their follow-up once they've received the diagnosis in order to plan out any medical care and treatment. So it's a really great facility in that we can offer multiple different types of treatment options and diagnostic evaluations. We also have a medical social worker who works with us, who is fantastic, who focuses on the resource side and also helps with providing additional care to families and care within the community. And it's different from a memory care facility or nursing home in that those are providing more direct, usually 24/7 care to patients who have an established diagnosis of a cognitive change or impairment. And so we provide more, again, that outpatient services for helping of diagnosis, and then we can help our patients receive care and connection to resources such as a memory care facility or nursing home if it gets to the point where that need is there.
Great. Now, who should make an appointment, and when is too early to be concerned? We're looking at somebody, a family member, who say, well, maybe my wife, or the wife is saying my husband is having some issues. But when is too early to be concerned?
specifically for Alzheimer's disease, the typical age of onset is 65. We know some people can present a little earlier. We can have some that present a little later, but 65 is usually around the age in which Alzheimer's is typically diagnosed. And so age does play a factor. We do see some younger patients here in their 50s for the memory care clinic because we know, again, some things can present a little earlier. There are different types of cognitive changes that have an earlier onset. But the main thing that I like patients to know for when to be concerned and when to come in is when we're having cognitive changes outside of our normal kind of level of cognition, but that they're consistent. And all of us have moments where, we forget where we parked our car or where did I put my keys? And that's typical, right? As we age or if we have a stressful day, if we're tired, if there's other factors going on that are affecting really the efficiency of our brain, we can have these moments as kind of memory lapse or brain fogs. But when they're consistently occurring, it's happening every day, family members are starting to notice. And again, we're in that age range, in our 50s to 60s. If there's a concern, come on in, get checked out. At the very least, I always say it's best to have a good baseline, right? The goal is you come in, we're noticing changes, hopefully everything's fine. And now we have a really good baseline for any future change. But usually you want to kind of keep in mind age is a factor. As we age, our risk does increase. And if we're having those really consistent occurring cognitive issues, then that's something where, all right, maybe let's chat with our doctors and see if we can come in to get a checkup, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, can they call and make an appointment? Can they refer themselves, or do they have to have a referral from another doctor?
Yeah, referrals are needed for our office, but your primary care doctor can do that. So when you go in for your regular checkup, let them know we're having these concerns. I'm of a certain age. I'd like to have this be a part of my care, and they can place the referral for it. So any medical providers can place the referral for them to be seen by us. Gotcha.
Somebody gets an appointment, they come in to see a doctor. What does their first visit actually look like or feel like?
Our clinic is set up in, as I mentioned, we have multiple types of providers here. And so when our referral comes in for older adult patients, we will typically initially schedule them with our geriatrician. She's a medical provider, specializes in care of older adults, or a nurse practitioner who also has that specialty. They'll come in, they'll see our medical provider, and that appointment is usually about an hour long. What that entails is you'll speak with our geriatrician, Dr. LaRosaletta, or Laverne, our nurse practitioner, who will just get kind of background information. What are your concerns? What are you noticing? Your family comes to that appointment. They provide additional information as well. And it's really background gathering. And then we do what's called a cognitive screener. I'm sure a lot of people who are listening have seen a family member or themselves have taken one of these. We ask you to draw a clock and we ask you to remember a couple of words. And basically what this does is it gives us a very, very brief glimpse into your current level of functioning. And if it warrants that you come back in for additional testing. And our geriatrician will determine that. And from there, we'll place the referral into our neuropsychology team for a second appointment. That second appointment is kind of the big gun, the longer appointment. It's usually about a 3-hour long appointment. And the reason for that is the first part of the appointment is more background. We want to learn more about your history, cognitive concerns, but also just about your level of functioning, your education level, just really getting to know you and know your specific case and your specific presenting concerns. And then we go into our testing portion. And that is usually about an hour and a half or so of just paper and pencil cognitive tests. We're looking at memory, of course, but we're also assessing level of attention. We're looking at language. We're looking at more complex, higher order tasks. We're looking at mood. So all of the things that we need to make our diagnosis and all of the things that we know can affect cognition, we're getting within that second appointment with our neuropsychology office. So that appointment is where people get a little nervous, right? Because it's a long appointment, but that's where we really get the data. That's where we get our information to help us make a diagnosis and then be able to meet with you again for a feedback appointment in which we go over the results. We let you know your strengths, weaknesses. Is this consistent with more than just normal aging? And if so, where are we in that process? So it's a really useful appointment because it gives us a lot of great information to help you gain as much information about your functioning and what can we do, what's available to us, what's the future look like, and how can we help? It is a long appointment, but I find that it's really very, very important. It gives you a lot of good information and some control back, which I think is what people are really looking for.
Right. So around the third appointment is when you finally reach a diagnosis and talk to the individuals involved. Okay. How often do you discover that the memory problems are not Alzheimer's or another form of dementia? What other things could affect the diagnosis?
Yeah. Alzheimer's disease is, unfortunately, it is the most prevalent form of cognitive change. Your risk increases as you age. So with our older patients, in their 70s or 80s, the amount of patients we see that end up being diagnosed with Alzheimer's or with a mild cognitive impairment due to Alzheimer's disease is higher. But I will say that there's probably about 15 to 20% of my patients that come in that are what we call worried well. We're aging, we're noticing changes. Alzheimer's disease exists. We get worried. We come in because we're convinced we have it. And in fact, the changes we're noticing are normal. As we age, just like with our physical health, things change. Things get slower. It's harder to come up with words. We, again, forget where we parked our car or we misplace object, but that's normal. So I would say about 20% are that kind of worried well. And then I would say probably about another 30 to 40% of my patients have another form of a cognitive change. Alzheimer's disease affects the memory centers of our brain first and foremost. And we unfortunately have other types of degenerative processes that affect other areas of our brain first and present in a different way. So that's again why the testing is so important, because people think I'm having memory change, it's Alzheimer's, but we have other areas of functioning in our brain that can affect our memory. If we're having issues paying attention and focusing, then we're not learning the information. And if we don't learn information, we're never going to remember it, right? And so people feel, I have a memory issue. And it's like, well, actually, there's something else going on, or we were really stressed, or we just had a recent loss in the family. And the circuits in our brain that are responsible for focus and attention are affected when we're really stressed or overwhelmed or sleeping poorly. And then that can affect our memory. And so that's, again, why we do so much testing, because it's important that we see all these different factors that can contribute to memory change. And then there's other factors as well. Obviously, medical can be something that can cause cognitive changes. As we age, the vascular system in our brain, the blood flow, things start to kind of slow down. The blood flow isn't working as well or isn't pumping as quickly due to various factors, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and that can affect the efficiency of our brain in a different way. It's not Alzheimer's disease, but that is something that we want to make sure we identify and address. The majority of patients that come in are diagnosed with some form of cognitive impairment, and usually the underlying cause is Alzheimer's disease. But there are a lot of other factors, which is why doing such a robust amount of testing and kind of those longer appointments is important, so that we're accurately identifying what's going on, so that we can also provide the right type of treatment.
That makes a lot of sense. And one of the other issues is hearing problems. You made a comment along that last part. If you don't hear what the person's saying or hear what you're listening to, you're not going to remember it because you didn't really hear it.
Absolutely.
And
that's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
But it's true. It makes a big difference. And there's another factor there that people don't realize. So you're absolutely right that if you don't hear it, right, you're not going to remember it. But there's actually research that shows a connection between hearing loss and faster cognitive decline. And it's related to the idea that our brain has only so much energy. So when our brain is constantly fighting to hear information, it's constantly straining, it's taking energy away from other areas of your brain, and it actually causes your cognition to worsen faster. With one recommendation we give to all of our patients who have any type of hearing change, that we need to get that addressed, and it's an easy fix. It's an easy thing for us. You pop in those hearing aids. They're amazing now. They have Bluetooth. They're like really high tech. That addresses one huge factor that makes cognition worse.
That's interesting. We're coming back with more of Dr. AmberRose Reale from Lee Health's Memory Care Program. And we'll be talking about amyloid plaque and tau tangles and our favorite topic, caregivers.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Your memories are precious. The people you love, the moments you cherish, the life you've lived. At Neuropsychiatric Research Center, we believe your brain deserves the very best care. If you're 50 or older, we invite you to a free memory screening event designed to give you clarity, hope, and valuable insight into your cognitive health. This test has the potential to identify Alzheimer's-related changes earlier than ever, and giving people more time, more understanding, and more ways to prepare. By taking just a few minutes minutes for a confidential memory check, it can help you establish a baseline, give you a peace of mind, and connect you to research that may change lives, including your own. Neuropsychiatric Research Center, 14271 Metropolis Avenue, Fort Myers. Take the first step towards protecting your brain for yourself and the people who love you. Visit nprc-southwestflorida.com or call 239-939-7777 to schedule your free memory screening today. The p-tau 217 blood test is available only to participants who meet eligibility criteria.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
With all the excitement over blood tests and new medications, there's a lot. And there's a lot of research being done. But how has diagnosing the Alzheimer's changed in, say, the past few years? Has it gotten better?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's a ton of new tests that can be done or improvement blood tests that are already being completed. Previously, it was we'd have a brain scan, an MRI. We'd look at the area of the brain that's related to memory. We'd see if there's any atrophy or shrinkage, and we'd say, okay, that's consistent. And it's gotten so much more specific now between PET imaging that looks at uptake of different tracers in the brain, to blood tests, which now can do the same thing. I'm sure you already know that you've been really involved in this field for a while now, but the two things that are mostly associated with Alzheimer's disease are tau tangles, which occur on the inside of our neurons in our brain cells,
right,
or amyloid plaques accumulate on the outside of our neurons. Both of these cause the neuron to stop functioning and eventually die. And so the hypothesis in the field is that the amyloid plaques and the tau tangles are what is contributing to Alzheimer's disease in certain areas of the brain. All of these tests have been developed to find those levels. How much amyloid do we have? How much tau do we have? And then using that to help make a diagnosis. One thing I will say is that these tests are helpful in that they provide additional support for the diagnosis, but the diagnosis itself is made through cognitive testing. Our tests that we give in our clinic are the diagnostic criteria for Alzheimer's disease. We have to see change in certain areas more than expected for normal aging to make a diagnosis of a cognitive impairment. And when it starts to affect functioning day to day, that's when we know, okay, this is maybe a dementia process. We've gotten to a functional impairment along with cognition. The diagnosis itself is supported with these other tests, and they've been great. We're getting so much good information. But I will say one thing that I always like to let patients know is that these tests are not perfect. They are not definitive. They are supportive. You can have patients, and myself and other colleagues in the office have had patients that have come in and said, I have Alzheimer's disease. My doctor did a blood test and I have Alzheimer's disease. And we do testing and they're fine. They maybe have a weakness here or there, but it is not consistent with Alzheimer's disease. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't develop, but the diagnosis can't be made without the cognitive change. Using those tests can be very helpful, but I also feel that in some ways, unfortunately, they can cause more harm because now we can simply get a blood test done and patients go, I have Alzheimer's disease, even though they maybe don't have any symptoms yet. I always let people know it's helpful, but we want to make sure that it's being used in the right context and that's explained properly so that patients don't have a misdiagnosis or begin to worry before there's a need for it.
That's an excellent explanation. You explained what a lot of people don't ask. You got to ask a lot of questions, but a lot of people don't know.
I think that that's a great segue into the idea for Alzheimer's disease is the amyloid hypothesis. That's what it's called. It's a hypothesis. It is not something that necessarily can be proven. It's something that can be supported. But right now, our focus is on amyloid because it's been the most correlated with cognitive change. There's studies out there that are adamant it is amyloid. If we clear that, then we're good. And we have other studies that are saying it's not this at all, it's something else. And that's the frustration in the field, but also almost the excitement in the field. And that's why so much research is still being done and added to, because we learn more and then we know a little less. And we want to be able to figure out what's going on. And unfortunately, I think it's more a rule out. If we treat this, does it get better? No, okay, that wasn't it. Let's go to our next thing. Saying it's just one thing that causes it, I wish that was the case because then we could just focus on that one thing. But right now we just don't have that support. Those infusion treatments are focusing on removing the amyloid plaques, which is awesome and it is having some positive effects. But we still just don't know because it doesn't work for everyone.
Correct.
Some people clear amyloid and no changes occur. It can be frustrating and definitely confusing for patients. And so just keeping in mind that this is a supportive diagnostic tool, but it is not kind of the be all end all, I think is important for people to know.
Sure. And there are side effects, especially with them, and you have to be very careful. On Facebook, there's a group, Lakembe and Kisama, and it's pretty interesting, and everybody's got a lot of questions, and I like the idea that they're doing it. If you read the information, some people are having results, and a lot of people are not, and they question, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? And that becomes a problem, because what do they do now? From your standpoint, you have to decide whether you want somebody to try that. Is it worth the risk, depending on factors? Definitely interesting. We talked about the drugs and the tests. Now, let's talk about caregivers. What's the biggest mistake families make after someone is diagnosed?
I think the biggest mistake is understandably avoiding. I think you get a diagnosis and it can be really difficult. So you kind of go, well, they're not that bad. And then we kind of ignore planning for the future. And we kind of go, well, we're all right. We're in our routine. They're doing okay. Eventually, as we know, unfortunately, it's a degenerative process. So over time, things will worsen and additional help will be needed. And it gets to a point where some patients, they just can't be involved in decision-making of their own care. And I think that that's really sad. I think that all patients should be able to be a part of decision making and planning for the future. And so as tough and as difficult as it can be, I think that it's really important that as soon as a diagnosis of any kind, even if it's just a mild impairment, is made, that you start having those tough conversations. When we need additional help, who do you want to do that for you? Estate planning. It's just like making your will. We know eventually we're going to need it. We hope to not need it for the longest time possible, but it's good to have it there. And then I also think that that's good for the patients and their family because it takes a little bit of the burden off. We have a plan. We know if it gets to this point, we know what we want and what it'll be like. And the patient was actively involved in that decision making. And we know it's there and it's off our plate. So now we can just enjoy life as much as we can and enjoy our time together. But I think a lot of times it's really hard to have those conversations and really hard to access. And I think that causes patients or caregivers really to avoid the conversation until sometimes it's too late to have involvement from the patient in the decision making, which then makes it harder on the caregiver at that point.
Sure. And then there was an excellent point that the patient should be involved, especially when they can. What resources are available locally within Lee Health?
I mentioned her earlier, but Stephanie Malele, she's our medical social worker. We're so lucky to have her. She's a fantastic resource, but she connects our patients with multiple resources in the community. So Lee Health has tons of presentations in the community that she actually tends to head and present. She connects with adult day centers and senior centers in the area, transportation options, which are huge for a lot of our patients who maybe shouldn't be or can't be driving any longer. You know, we want them to still keep their sense of freedom as much as possible. And so connecting them with those transportation options is really important. In-home services, meal delivery options, she connects patients with all of those cares as well. There's resources through Medicare, which she helps patients get connected with. The Department of Elder Affairs also have online communities for family. There's a local business called Community Bridges of Southwest Florida, and that's specifically for veterans to connect them with additional services needed. There's just tons of resources in our area that I think some patients just aren't aware of. They think, oh, my insurance company is all I have. And that's just not true. There's really, really a ton. And the grant that we're actually a part of, the reason that we get that grant is because of these resources and us connecting our patients to that care. So she's our go-to resource for all of that. Lee Health, obviously, we offer classes. I know that she's doing some music classes a few times per month where patients with cognitive change can come to a safe environment, you know, where other people are dealing with similar difficulties. So that hopefully helps a little bit with that kind of that worry that patients have. And it's just a fun environment. And again, music is a really, really great tool and a great it's basically an area of the brain that can come back. You know, we might be having forgetfulness, but we hear a song from our childhood and it just brings us back, and our brains actually start working a little bit more efficiently in that moment. And so offering that class through Lee Health is a great resource. And then again, just connecting with everything that's available in the community online through different resources is what she really helps us with, which is awesome because there's just so much out there that patients are unaware of. And so making sure that they get as much education about that, I think it's just a huge importance.
Yeah, she's a great resource. I was introduced to her early on when I started this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And have interviewed her, and I see her at all kinds of events, but I didn't know she was doing the music thing. And music is big. And the ages of 12 to 25 are the most impactful ages emotionally with music. And you hear a song you haven't heard in 50 or 60 years, you know all the words. How do you know that?
Yeah.
It's there, and you have an emotional tie to it that you don't realize.
Yeah, it's amazing. There was some research done a while back. I'm not sure, unfortunately, what happened with it, where they were actually going into memory care facilities of patients who were at the point maybe where they were nonverbal from Alzheimer's disease, and they would play music, and the patients would light up and start singing, and and it was beautiful. It was really an amazing thing to see.
There's a documentary called Alive Inside, done a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I always refer people to that. Go watch that, and then you'll understand how it works. To see somebody who's almost comatose come alive like a flower. Slow motion opening up of, whoa, that was the songs that he grew up with. And now he's snapping his fingers and trying to sing. And by the time the whole documentary was over, he's already able to have a conversation, which he couldn't do before.
It's amazing. It's really great.
So let me ask you this question. If every caregiver in Southwest Florida could hear just one piece of advice from you before we leave this conversation, what do you want them to remember?
I think the one thing I try to let every caregiver know is that self-care for themselves is important. We focus on the patient as we should. We plan for their future. We provide resources. We build a routine, a structure for their day. We provide extra care with their daily activities. We focus so much on them. And I think the caregiver forgets that they're also important, and that caregiver burnout is a real thing. And so I really encourage caregivers to make time to also do things for themselves. I think that we become so focused on our loved one and care so much for them and want to do so much for them, but we can't be there for them if we're not there for ourselves too. And so I use the example being on a plane, and they say you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you help your family. It's the same thing here, right? We're not going to be any good to our family if we don't also make sure that we take care of ourselves. And so I think you mentioned you go to a few caregiver groups, which I think is wonderful. This can be difficult for the patient, but really hard on the family too. And so having that support and knowing that there are resources for you as well. And then also just making time, even just 1 hour a week, if you can, where you're doing something for yourself and taking that time for yourself, because your family would want that for you as well. You're doing all of this for them because they would do it for me, but they want you to still be able to enjoy life and still be able to do things. And so I find that a lot of patients have caregivers who just love them so much, and that becomes their whole life. And I want them to know that it's important that they keep a piece of it for themselves as well.
You're exactly right. We have 5 rules on Gut Punched. And number 1 is take care of yourself, because if something happens to you, who's going to take care of your loved one? And then the second one, which ties into that, what you just touched on, you can't do it alone. You need help. So find yourself a good caregivers group. Well, listen, I appreciate the time that you've given me today. And I think
of course,
when all said and done, people are really going to enjoy this, because there's a lot of information and things that I didn't even know, because you'd have a different approach, which is really, really good.
Well, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, so I was like, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to offer him anything new. So I'm glad that there was some additional stuff in here that kind of gave you more information.
What I'm hearing is that I kind of like what I've heard. Dr. AmberRose Reale, lead physician group, we want to thank you so much for your time today and all the great information you provided.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Hope to have you back again soon. When we come back, what's new with Alzheimer's with Dr. John Huffaker?
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Every day I talk with people who say, I don't feel as sharp as I used to. My energy is low. My memory worries me. Hi, I'm Peggy Sealfon, board-certified health coach and caregiver. I share patented science-backed technology supporting your body's natural repair, helping improve sleep, cognition, and vitality. Learn more at liveyoungertoday.com. liveyoungertoday.com.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers. What's new in Alzheimer's with John Huffaker?
This is from Dennis in New York. He says, I'm always looking for different treatments to try for my wife who has Alzheimer's. Are there things I see on social media actually treatments like apple cider vinegar, cinnamon and honey, etc.? Or are they just scams?
Yeah, this is kind of like a loaded question with a loaded answer. Almost all of those different things you're going to see on treatments that come up on social media where, you'll see this run where everybody's using apple cider vinegar, lion's mane, all these different treatments. Honestly, most of them aren't proven, and they don't have any really scientific data to support the claims that they're making. Now, with that said, I kind of look at it, and when I deal with my patients, I tell them, look, this is one of those illnesses that we throw everything at it, including the kitchen sink, as long as it's safe and reasonable. So I tell them if it's safe, reasonable, and it's not breaking the bank, and we don't walk away from the conventional clinically proven treatments, I'm okay with it. Because maybe even though there's not a lot of data to support some of these things, maybe there is something to it. And if it's not really hurting anything, I'm all for it. But most of those things that you'll see on social media that are out there that are fluctuating around, it's really probably somebody just making money off of it. But like I said, as long as it hits those couple things I mentioned, I'm okay with it. I would love to see something as simple as cinnamon or an apple cider vinegar having some real impact. I think that would be fantastic. I'd put everybody on it if we could see that happen. So I'm supportive of it with a couple of those caveats that I think you got to look out for.
Thank you, John. Next, info on the walk to end Alzheimer's. There is growing evidence that healthy habits like walking can help protect your brain for years to come. Now is the perfect time to rally your coworkers, friends, and family to start a Walk to End Alzheimer's team. Held annually in more than 600 communities nationwide, Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. How to participate. Number 1, register for your local walk. Start or join a team and invite others to walk with you. Number 2, start fundraising and sharing. The Alzheimer's Association makes it easy with tools like Facebook fundraisers, their ALC fundraising app, and more. Number 3, join us on Walk Day. Come together for an inspiring community event that celebrates our commitment to ending the disease. You can go to alz.org, look for Walk to End, go to the bottom of the page. There you can search by zip code or by state, then hit the orange search button. Find the location of the walk nearest you. It's easy. Don't wait till it's too late. We'll take a look at our resources up next.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Okay, this is a short message from the Intermezzo Choir. This season features beloved favorites including Fly Me to the Moon and Moon River, along with a collection of uplifting songs that celebrate friendship, memories, and the power of music. The Intermezzo Choir is a welcoming community choir designed to support individuals living with Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia alongside their care partners. Through music, they create meaningful connections and encourage social engagement and celebrate every voice. Now, rehearsals begin Thursday, September 3rd from 10 to 11:30 a.m. at the Covenant Presbyterian Church at 2439 McGregor Boulevard, Fort Myers, Florida. Now, volunteers are needed. Volunteer singers are an essential part of the Intermezzo Choir experience, singing side by side with our members to provide encouragement and support. If you'd like to become part of this inspiring community, please join them for their volunteer sign-up meeting. And that's Thursday, August 27th, 10 a.m. at the Covenant Presbyterian Church, 2439 McGregor Boulevard, Fort Myers, Florida. Now, whether you're joining as a singer, a care partner, or volunteer, they'd love to welcome you for another unforgettable season. Come sing with them as they journey over the moon. You can register online at https://mastersingersfm.com/programs/intermezzo-choir/. It's a lot of backslashes. Check out their website. I'm pretty sure it's going to be there for you.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Our resources are very important. If you're not sure where to turn or how to connect, we're here to help bring you trusted resources. We have the Dubin Center at dubincenter.com, Neuropsychiatric Research Center, and you can find them at nprc-swfl.com, Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care at hbmhomecare.com, the Alzheimer's Support Network at https://support.network. And to find your local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, you can visit their website at alz.org or call their toll-free hotline at 1-800-272-3900. They also offer an outstanding resource called Dementia Care Navigation, powered by Ripple and the Alzheimer's Association. It provides free, personalized dementia care, including a dedicated care navigator and tailored resources for caregivers and people living with dementia. You can get connected by calling 855-271-2662. You take the first step. Bright Focus, you can call 800-437-2423 or email them at info@brightfocus.org. Their fax number is 301-258-9454. And the Guide Program, another excellent resource that provides help and respite care, and it's free. You can search for it online or visit Dr. Perry's HealthSpan partners at healthspanswfl.com. And then there is Aquilane Clinical Research at aquilaneresearch.com. And we have a couple of new resources that we're adding. This is our first of this kind of resource and a very important one. Zachariah Fry, Estate Planning and Elder Law Attorneys. And you can find him at ZACFREYlaw.com. That's ZachFryLaw.com. And then there is Lee Health. Get memory care near you. You can check him out at leehealth.org/our-services/memory-care. Tailored to offer comprehensive support and assistance to those living with memory loss conditions. And the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. Their helpline is 866-232-8484 or alzfdn.org or text them at 646-586-5283. And we hope this helps. We'll add more as we come across them. Our website is gutpunch.com. And the email address is gutpunchedac@outlook.com or jeff@gutpunch.com. And thank you to each and every one of you who has taken the time out of your busy, often stressful day as a caregiver to listen to our podcast. We truly appreciate you being here. We like to think of this podcast as hope without hype. Whenever you need resources, information, or simply a reminder that you're not alone, we're here for you. If today's episode gave you something new to think about, or even just a little more hope, hold on to it, embrace it, let it encourage you on your caregiving journey. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless.
This has been Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, with your host, Jeff Edwards. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to us on all the platforms, like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, Podbean, and more. If you have a question or want to get in touch with us, our email is gutpunchedac@outlook.com or jeff@gutpunched.com. Caregivers, you don't have to do this alone.
I've been gut punched by the weight of that call. I've been gut punched when you don't know me at all. I've been gut punched as your memories fade away. Yeah, I've been gut punched. I wish there was another way. That hollow feeling deep inside when the doctor says the truth. No cure waiting on the other side, just time we're gonna lose. But I won't run from what's ahead, I won't let you fall apart. Even when your mind lets go, you'll still have the day comes you don't remember me. Yeah, it breaks me in two, but I'll still be right here, like I've always been for you. I know it's not your fault, it's this disease we fight, but you're still my everything that will never change in life. I've been gut punched, yeah, it cuts me to my soul. I've been gut punched, watching pieces of you go. I've been gut punched, but I won't let you face this alone. Even when you're lost in the dark, you still have a home. You were a gift from our God above, still the best part of my life. Through the worst of all these days, I'm still grateful you're my wife. We didn't choose this road we're on, but I choose you every day. Through every broken memory, I'm not walking away. You gave me love that built this life, and a daughter to carry your light. I can feel you still inside, even lost in this fight. And when the world you knew is gone and nothing feels the same, I'll be your memory, your voice, calling out your name. I've been gut punched, but love don't fade away. I've been gut punched, still I'm choosing you each day. Through the silence, through the pain, through the fear we can't outrun. You may forget the life we built, but I remember enough for two. No, I won't forget, not a single one. I still choose you. You still